Hey, Mike, can I ask you a question?
Uh, sure.
Would you still love me if I was the color of Baboon's ass?
Hey, any of you bums ever heard of Nathan R. Johnson?
So that's what this is like. What is up, all of you sleaze bags out there? And welcome to Sleaze Bag Cinema. My name is Mike Jamison. I am one of your hosts. And with me tonight, as always, is my heterosexual life mate, Andrew.
Hi.
Andrew, how are you tonight?
Michael, I am rolling.
And I am rolling also because this is the official kickoff. It's not the summer of Mike, it's the week of Mike because I
Summer
am
of Mike.
I am all alone. I have no children in the house. I have no wife in the house. All I have is me and two cats. Uh, Andrew can see me. I do have a shirt on. I will not.
Hmm.
I will not confirm or deny if I am podcasting bottomless. That's for after the mics are off.
Well,
But yes,
frankly, would not surprise me, but yeah.
in all honesty, whenever you and I podcast bottomless. But yes, this is the week of Mike. I am blissfully in bachelorhood, and I don't know what to do with myself. So I said, "Why not
Well,
Why not podcast?"
I could have some suggestions. I
Oh
mean,
my god, we're not gonna. This isn't a kids podcast, but we're not going for the X rating yet. We're
all
we're
right.
gonna go for the hard R. How about that?
Well, that'll work.
Okay, good. I like the introduction, by the way. I like this. I like you taking a more active role in the introducing of the show. I'm gonna give you the editing chores pretty soon,
There
and
you go.
you can edit the episodes.
There we go. Now we're talking.
But tonight, as we kick off the week of Mike, tonight we are covering the 1979 comedy classic
79. Jesus.
1979 comedy classic, The Jerk, starring Steve Martin.
And what a classic it was.
Ooh. I didn't ask Andrew if he liked this movie or not, so I think I'm getting a little bit of a preview of what his opinion is, but we'll wait for that. We'll wait until closer to the end. Before we get into the movie itself, there are a few things that I wanted to touch on before I forget because I forgot on our last episode, our National Lampoon's episode. So
Hmm.
I wanted to touch on, I wanted to address a couple of the things I forgot, and then we will get into the movie. One of the first things I forgot was at the end of the show, I always forget for some reason to tell people that this podcast is available on Apple, on Spotify, on Amazon, on YouTube, on all podcast platforms. So please go and seek it out on those podcast platforms, on your favorite podcast platform, and listen to it there. And as always, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram under Pop Culture Basement or Sleaze Bag Cinema. So if you're looking for us, look for us there. It's very straightforward, and you will find us. What I also want to address was some of the things we missed with our last episode, and one of the main
What?
things, well, one of the
How
things we
could we
missed.
miss anything?
Well, I missed it because you brought it up to me after the episode was done. We did not
Oh,
touch on Lindsey Buckingham doing the theme song
oh my
for National
God.
Lampoon's Vacation. Holiday Row. Ah, I
Well,
cannot
and I
sing
know
at all.
that song like more than I know the movie. I had no clue. Um, that was Lindsey Buckingham.
Ah, yeah, Lindsey Buckingham solo, sans Fleetwood Mac, you might say, and it wasn't a big hit, but it was a hit. He does
Well,
he does the opening song and he does the song over the end credits.
well, you and I grew up in an era when I don't think we've ever really talked about this, but uh, as in our era, the late '70s, '80s through '80s, there was a thing called soundtracks, and what that meant, kids, is that along with the release of many movies, not necessarily every movie, but in a lot of movies, uh, there was something called a soundtrack, and that actually was put out on a vinyl record. Yes, vinyl record, and it would be theme songs, songs in the movie, and prominent artists would perform them, or artists who were not prominent and then became prominent through the soundtrack releases because the music was accompanied by a music video, which was often clips of the film. And one band that comes, I'm getting a little off track here, but one band that comes to mind was Survivor, who did several, at least two, I should say, soundtracks for Rocky movies, and I don't know. I think they weren't a particularly known band, but those soundtracks were very popular, and the band became popular as a result. So for Lindsey Buckingham, who was very prominent at the time for being in Fleetwood Mac, one of the biggest bands of the 70s and 80s. I don't know if this was his first solo venture, but it was a solo venture, as Mike said, sans Fleetwood Mac, that he did the soundtrack for this movie.
Yeah, kids, nowadays you can just go on YouTube and find all this stuff. Or you can just go to Target and buy a vinyl record for like $75, I think, or something like that. Every time I go to Target, I see the vinyl section and I get the idea in my head, oh, I'm going to buy something on vinyl. And then I look at the price tag and I'm like, nope, that's not going to happen. I will just... And then I think I'll go to a used record store and buy some more vinyl. And then I never do that because I'm lazy and I just don't feel like it. But yes, kids, now you would just go on Spotify or you would just go on YouTube and find all that stuff. But the 70s and especially the 80s was the height of the soundtrack album. It was the golden age of the soundtrack
sorely
album.
missed, I think.
I agree with you. I can remember watching MTV, and especially with the videos for certain movies, you would get to see clips of the movie in the video. We're talking about the 80s, but in the 90s, I remember the U2 song for Batman Forever, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me, and it had clips from Batman Forever. So nowadays, the movie didn't come out 2 weeks on digital after its theatrical release. So that was the only way you would get unless you were buying bootleg VHS, that was the only way that you were going to get to see clips from the movie until it was released on VHS. So yeah, I mean, for us, for our vintage soundtrack albums and videos that accompanied the song from the soundtrack were little pieces of gold that we were able to hang on to get our fix for the movie.
Absolutely.
And one other thing that this is not something that we forgot, but it was almost something that I forgot for this episode, so I don't want to have to address in the next episode. But SLEAZE Bag Cinema is a proud member of the Pop Culture Basement Podcast Network. I wanted to add that in there too because I totally forgot to do it when I introduced the show. I got thrown off because Andrew did the question of the question of the podcast this time. So it's hard when you hit 50. The mind's the first thing to go, and my mind's been going since I hit probably like 25, 26, 27. So it's just worse now. And the last thing that I forgot in the last episode, and I'm not gonna forget it for this episode because I'm gonna do it right up here up front, is that I forgot to play promos from other shows. I've had other shows that have been very, very nice in playing promos for my podcast. So I'm going to take a second now and I'm going to play a couple of podcast promos. I'm going to go put a pair of pants on and we will come back and we will start talking about our movie of the night, The Jerk. Listen to these. We'll be right back.
I'm scaling this wall just as easily as I can walk. My fingers alone are adhering, supporting me.
The Amazing Spider-Man, created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, has conquered every medium, from newspaper strips to the silver screen. But he began his life in a pulp periodical destined for cancellation. Let's explore these beginnings together. The Amazing Spider-Man from the Very Beginning, a brand new podcast on Spotify.
There's some sort of danger here, but what?
Hello there. Come on in and welcome to the Fantastic Pour. I am your host, Brett Young, and this is the podcast serving up comics, cocktails, and conversation for your listening pleasure. Every episode, I'll welcome a guest to the Fantastic Lounge to explore one of their favorite comic book characters and cover a classic story in which they're featured. And what pairs better with great literature than a delicious drink? Based on my guest's ingredient of choice, we'll mix up a cocktail or mocktail to enjoy in the Fantastic Lounge while we talk comics, mixology, history, and whatever else comes to mind. So join me every month for the Fantastic Pour, Open for Business by the Fire and Water Podcast Network.
And we are back. We are back, and we are talking about The Jerk.
Now, let's try to set this up a little bit, kids. So, this is more Mike's account. He has a deeper knowledge of things of this year, and I'm going to go somewhere with that. So, there was a program called Saturday Night Live. So, Steve Martin was a big part of that. But was Steve Martin on the cast of Saturday Night Live, Mike?
He was not. He was never in the
Okay.
cast. He was much like Pete Best, not Pete Best because he was part of the Beatles, but then they threw him aside for Ringo. Much like George Martin and Billy Preston and others were the fifth Beatle. He was kind of the unofficial cast member of Saturday Night Live. He hosted at the time in the 70s. He was the most frequent host. There was one season that he hosted 3 times in one season. I don't know
Okay.
the exact amount of times in the 70s with the original cast that he hosted, but I believe it's 4, 5, 6 times in that first 5-year run of the original cast that he hosted.
Okay. So, Mike, he was prominent then as a stand-up comedian. Like, for example, I remember distinctly as a kid the hilarious King Tut musical number. Was that someone's stand-up, or was that from a Saturday Night Live skit?
I believe it was a creation for Saturday Night Live, but then
Okay.
he incorporated it into his stand-up. As we said, when we gave the little preview at the end of last episode, Steve Martin at the time this movie was released in December of 1979, he was the biggest stand-up comedian out there. And this is like rock star levels
Yeah, kids.
of stardom. I mean, he was selling out arenas. He was albums. We already talked about albums. He was putting out comedy albums that were going multi-platinum. He had his own TV specials. So when you talked about stand-up, it was Steve Martin.
Okay, so this was his first film?
This is his first starring role. He was in
as a star for sure. Yep.
He was in the 1978 Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band movie that the Bee Gees did. Yes.
What?
He plays Maxwell in the Maxwell Silver Hammer part of the movie. He plays Maxwell.
That would make sense. Okay.
And he sings. He does Maxwell Silver Hammer. So he was in that, but
okay.
They had a bunch. They had a bunch of. I almost said guest stars. I mean, it wasn't a TV show, but they had a bunch of cameos by
star-studded cast of that movie for sure. Yes.
Yeah, Steve Martin, Alice Cooper, Aerosmith was in that movie. George Burns.
Okay.
So he had been in a movie before, but this is his first starring role.
Okay. All right. So I wasn't wrong with that. So okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, Mike's point, he was extremely popular, #1 comedian. I mean, comedians, well, I guess fair enough to say to this day, became popular, for Saturday Night Live, their own stand-ups, sketch comedy shows, what have you, and many of them parlay into very successful TV and movie careers, and this was the start of his, and as a debut, I have to give him his props. I thought he was fantastic.
He'd been banging around since the late '60s. He'd written for the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. A lot of people were
banging around in the '60s, Mike.
Yeah, but I mean, he'd written for the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, and
he'd been doing stand-up.
Yeah, he'd been doing stand-up since the late '60s, early '70s. I think you brought up a good point. Saturday Night Live. He was the first, I think, to he got that glow up from Saturday Night Live by being on Saturday Night Live. He was exposed to a bigger audience, and it catapulted him into the mainstream, and it made him. It made studios want to work with him.
Mm-hmm. He became a name that could sell a movie. Like you knew he was going to make money if he was in it.
Yeah, and this movie, we keep going back to his stand-up. This movie incorporates some bits that he was doing in his stand-up. So when he wrote the screenplay, he knew that he wanted to take some of the stuff that he was doing in his stand-up act and then extend it into movie form. So he wrote this with Michael Elias and also Carl Gottlieb, who was one of the co-writers of Jaws.
Okay, That guy's got range.
Yeah, well, we'll get into Carl Gottlieb. He's very interesting, and he connects to something that we talk about often on this show. So I'll bring that up a little bit later. But yeah, this was released on the 14th of December, 1979, Universal Pictures. He had originally taken it to another studio, and I don't think they got his humor, so it kind of flamed out there. He took it to Universal. They wanted to work with him. When he was writing the script, he said one of the things that he wanted to do was have a laugh on every page, and
Okay.
somebody who helped him with that was the director, who was Carl Reiner, comedy legend Carl Reiner, father of Rob Reiner, best friend of Mel Brooks, aka Meathead, who has a cameo in this movie. Rob Reiner. Did you catch his cameo?
I caught Dad's. I did not catch Carl's. No.
You did not catch Rob's cameo. Rob was
No.
he was the truck driver when Navin is when he starts hitchhiking, and the truck stops
That
and
takes
says,
him to the end of the fence.
who takes him to the end of the fence? That's
That was
Meathead.
Meathead? Wow.
That's Rob
okay.
Reiner. Yes.
Huh. I did not catch that. Okay.
But yeah, Steve Martin, he sought out Carl Reiner because he respected Carl Reiner. He was one of his comedy heroes. He wanted him to direct a movie. Carl Reiner liked Steve Martin's act, said yes. And he actually helped. He's not credited as one of the screenwriters, but he did help. They would carpool to the set every day, Steve Martin and Carl Reiner, and they would go over the script. And that's Steve Martin said to him also is, I want to have a laugh on every page. So they would go over as they were carpooling the script and try to punch it up every day as they were getting ready to film. So Carl Reiner was a very, very big part in the conception and making of this movie, well beyond just being the director.
Okay. So, okay, I'm seeing that now. Yep, I gotcha.
So it was the eighth biggest grossing movie in the United States in '79. It was a big hit, made $73 million domestic.
Wait. What was its ranking in '79?
Eighth biggest movie of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not. As I've said before, and Mike has agreed with me, the '70s was a true golden era of movies. So if it was in top 10, I'm sure it had stiff competition in '79. No, and I don't mean that in a dirty way. I mean, I'm sure it did.
It made over $100 million worldwide, also. So yeah, really, really, really big hit.
What was its budget? I bet it was like 10 cents.
You know what? That's a good question. It was made over $100 million worldwide on a $4 million budget. So very, very
nice
profitable.
Profit for the studio.
Yep, very profitable. And did you know that Carl Gottlieb, I brought him up, he wrote Jaws. He also wrote Jaws 2 and Jaws 3.
Well, I was hoping that you wouldn't say that, but all right.
And you know what else he wrote? Dr. Detroit.
A film we will certainly cover in this podcast in the near future.
I haven't watched that movie in a long. I'm like Obi-Wan. I haven't watched that movie in a long time.
All right, so to the jerk, Mike. Your thoughts?
My thoughts overall.
Do you think it was a good movie?
Well, let me start. This again, as I bring up every episode. This was a Prism movie. Watch this on Prism.
That's Prism Kids, PRISM. That was a famous cable channel where we grew up in Philadelphia. Mike did not say prison, which would be PRISON.
Yeah, that's what I was
Let's
doing.
Make that
time.
distinction.
That's when I wasn't in the hole. When I was doing time, and I was just in general population. They would put the jerk on.
You weren't in the sweat box watching this movie. No.
Yes, kids. Prism, PRISM,
okay,
all in capital letters.
So you would have been a very young pup when this movie came out, so it makes sense. It's as free-thinking as your parents, I know them to be. You probably were not going to see this movie at, what, 6?
No, well, let's say December of '79, so I was 5. I had just turned 5.
All right.
No, they weren't that bad. They didn't haul me into the family truckster and take me to the drive-in to go see the jerk.
Well, as we've talked about in this podcast, I didn't get cable till I was 27. So,
my God,
someone
what a horrible childhood you had.
How quickly, when a movie was in theaters, did it come to Prism? Like today, it's like the day after, but back then, do you remember? So, do you remember when you saw it on Prism?
There's actually a really cool site on Facebook that I follow that is called This Day in HBO, and it shows you what debuted on that day in HBO and what the HBO schedule was on every
Okay.
day of the week. I don't know when it debuted on HBO/Prism, but I remember seeing it in the mid to later 80s, like 85, 86, 87. I would think back then, as you brought up, there wasn't that quick of a turnaround because
No, of course
not
not.
everybody had cable, and you were renting VHS tapes. You weren't buying them. So they would get the most out of the theatrical run before they would put it on a pay station.
Okay.
I mean, it came out in late 79, so into 80. I would say it probably was on HBO by 82, 83. So Prism probably around the same time, 82, 83, 84. I most likely saw it around that time, like 84, 85, 86. I would think. I don't have the exact date. I mean, I was old enough to know who Steve Martin was, as I brought up,
Sure.
and
Sure.
you're so jealous of. I grew up watching Saturday Night Live
Yep.
when it was current in the 80s, but also going and renting the tapes, the best of Dan Aykroyd and Belushi and Chevy Chase. So I was a big Saturday Night Live guy, so I knew who Steve Martin was. And we'll probably bring it up. I mean, Steve Martin's has it's a very interesting career because he started out
Oh,
and he had the reputation at this time as basically the wild and crazy guy, and that was something he did on Saturday Night Live, and it was something he did in his act, and then he moved on from that into more esoteric and more, I would say,
you're using big words
intellectual.
here. What does esoteric mean?
I mean, I think Steve Martin, his true personality, he is a very intelligent
Oh,
person.
no question.
He's
Oh, no
very
doubt.
much into fine art and
Oh, it's one of them, huh?
yeah, he's one of them in literature and all that kind of stuff. So I think, and they've said this. I haven't read his autobiography yet. I've heard it's very, very good. But just reading up on Steve Martin and reading books about comedy in the 70s, even after this movie was released, he was already trying to break free of that persona that he had built for himself as the crazy guy, as the wacky guy. He wanted to get into more kind of highfalutin stuff, be it comedy or be it drama. I mean, he tried in the early 80s. Right after this, his movie right after this is Pennies from Heaven, which is a really, really, I haven't seen, that was another Prism movie, and it's not a comedy. It's very, very dark, and it's actually partially a musical, I believe. He does it with Bernadette Peters. Bernadette Peters, who is in this movie, they were dating at the time that this movie was made. So I would think that's probably why she's in this. Now, that's not to take anything away from her because I think she's great in this, and she's super talented on her own. I mean, she was a Broadway star before this movie came out, so she already had a reputation. It's not like he plucked her from obscurity and just got her in because they were sleeping together. But yeah, he did Pennies from Heaven after this. He did Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. Both didn't do.
That was a comedy, was it not?
It was, but it incorporated old scenes from black and white films.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So I don't think, fans of his didn't really know how to take it, and they didn't know. I think they were confused as to, we're going in. You know how it is. I mean, you see it with Adam Sandler now, who builds his reputation and builds his fandom on a certain type of persona that he has, and then goes and does Punch Drunk Love, which is a total 180 from what we expect from him, and then fans reject it because that's not what they want to see. They want to see the stupid Adam Sandler doing stupid things. And I'm not, listen, I love Adam Sandler's 90s stuff, but as a film goer, as somebody who is just the general audience and says I want to go see an Adam Sandler movie, if you go to see Punch Drunk Love, it's not the Waterboy. You're not getting the Waterboy, and that was what it was like with Steve Martin, where he did this, and then fans are expecting that this was a big hit, and he's throwing Pennies from Heaven and Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, and they didn't do that well. And I think he has said he went through like a nervous breakdown. He didn't know where his career was going to go. And then you see he does The Man with Two Brains, which Carl Reiner also directed. All of Me, which I believe he worked with Carl Reiner 3 times. I think Reiner directed All of Me also with him and Lily Tomlin.
Oh, God.
And then he was kind of back into what people were expecting from him. He cameoed in Little Shop of Horrors as the
The
as
dentist.
the dentist. It's another movie I have to watch again. That's a great
Comfy.
movie. But with this, I mean, you're coming right out of the gate with the jerk. He's at the height of his powers. This is a huge hit. I totally got off the subject of what you originally asked me. I hadn't watched this movie in a long, long time. And as soon as I turned it on, it brought back memories of watching it in my aunt's basement, watching it on Prism. And I had forgotten how funny this movie is. This is a great, great movie.
We are missing something very pertinent, though, Mike, in between. We talked about Sergeant Pepper's, the jerk, but there was a very prominent cameo in between those two. Do you remember what it was?
Ooh, oh yeah, the Muppet movie.
There you go.
Ha! He is great in the Muppet movie. He is great.
Will you taste it for us? Excellent choice.
And you see what I mean, though, what I'm saying? I mean, he's doing Steve Martin, basically, and that's what he was known for.
Something I wanted to bring up is like for kids that see him is interesting. Like when he's doing this movie, he's 33, I think. But one thing with Steve Martin, he's one of those rare folks that just had gray hair for a very early age. So everyone thinks him as older, but he was actually a very young man when he did this movie.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, back when I was watching this, Steve Martin's one of those guys. You're exactly right. You always thought he was 40.
Right.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. He just always looked older because he had the gray hair. I mean, now when you see him now, you could tell that he was younger because he looks like an older man. But yeah, he just always looked older because he had that. But I think that works for him. It works for him in this movie.
Oh yeah,
he's playing a man child in this movie, and he's got the gray hair.
Maven. So going back, I guess we'll do the cast. Let's talk about the cast.
Okay.
So Steve Martin. This is another thing where Mike's going to educate everyone, including myself. Bernadette Peters. I know of her from this movie and other movies. What's her history prior to this? Was she a comedian or vaudeville singer? What's her story?
No, as I said, she was a Broadway performer.
Okay.
Singing. I mean, she had been on Broadway.
That's what I meant, kids. I didn't mean vaudeville. She's not that old.
I know what you meant. Though.
I meant Broadway.
I am not sure if this is. I don't believe it's her film debut, but she had never carried a movie.
Famous.
She was famous, but I don't think she was a lead actress in anything.
I still knew about her from the movie, but I can't tell you from what. I mean, I was a young kid. I was single digits, but I definitely knew her before this movie from what I can't tell you.
And I will say, as I bring up with a lot of these 70s movies, Bernadette Peters, I had the biggest crush on from this movie. She is just amazingly beautiful in this movie.
Well, you know what she did in 1981, Mike?
What did she do in 1981?
Was in Playboy.
Was she really?
A non-nude spread, wearing lingerie.
Okay. Wow.
So I've heard.
I'm very... I'm just imagining you and the cousin from National Lampoon's in his bedroom. And you're like, whoa, Bernadette Peters.
This is... I want to say something about her. This is... it's similar to... who was the girl in X-Files? I think she got hotter as she got older.
She did.
Like... I don't know. Like, this hair is a little too much going on in this movie, but
you're nuts. I think the hair is amazing. My goodness. Well, and by the way, I'm looking her up.
She was probably young in this movie, but I think she got into her 40s, and to this day, I think really grew into being very beautiful, in my opinion.
No, I am not going to argue with you. I feel bad because when you brought it up, I looked her up on IMDb. She was in Silent Movie, the Mel Brooks Silent Movie. So
she had a few things. A few things going on. Okay.
She was doing TV movies, and I'm looking at her IMDb right now. So she was around. She was in Maude. She was in one episode of Maude. She was in one episode of All in the Family.
Yeah. Okay. She was on TV. I remember this. Did she ever do? Was she a comedian though? No, she was.
No. She was just. I mean, she was a
singer. I thought she was funny.
Singer, dancer. I mean, a lot like probably somebody like Gregory Hines, who or singer, dancer. I mean, back then we were lucky watching these movies because you got people. I just brought up Gregory Hines, Bernadette Peters, who would go from Broadway, who could sing, who could dance, who could do comedy. You could get them to do drama. They weren't. You could never put her in one. You can't put her in one hole. She could do.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
She was also frequently, according to the internet here, on the Muppet Show. I bet that's where I remember her from.
Of course she was. Everybody
Okay.
cool was on the Muppet Show.
Who else? So we've talked about Carl Reiner. His mother from Home was the mom from Good Times. Not Good Times, excuse me. What's Happening?
What's happening? It's Mama. Come on. It's Mama. It's Mabel King. Put some respect on Mabel King's name.
I'm sorry. Roger, you can't do that. Mom, but Dee said I... Oh, God, love her.
Roger, give me the belt, Roger. Hello, 7. Hello, Mrs. Thomas.
Excuse me. Jackie Mason, obviously.
Yes.
Very short appearance, but was he huge in comedy at this time?
He was. He'd been huge. I'm sure Carl Reiner knew him because they came up together in the Borscht Belt, and they were the same generation.
What?
The Borscht Belt.
Is that the comedy gulag? What is that?
No, honestly, like the classic like Jewish comedians.
Oh, okay.
And that's where they would when they would tour, they called it the Borscht Belt because it was primarily like Sid Caesar and Carl Reiner and Jackie Mason, Mel Brooks. It was that Borscht Belt kind of humor.
Got it. Okay.
But as I bring up in every episode, we had all these old dudes that we all knew as kids because the newer comedy stars like Steve Martin, like the people from Saturday Night Live and from Second City, had looked up to all these older comedians and then were bringing them into their projects when they started making movies. So they were giving them a second life.
Okay. The other Emmett Walsh, kind of that guy of the 70s.
Hell yes, Emmett Walsh. Big time that guy.
Kind of like a discount Ned Beatty, if you will.
Well, can I tell you that Emmett Walsh is my that guy for this movie?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Blade Runner, this. I mean,
Blade Runner?
He's Deckard's boss.
Yes.
We need the old Blade Runner. That's what he says, don't.
Other than that, I don't really too many other people of note from this.
Ooh. Well, did you have a that guy for this movie?
It was going to be Emmett.
That's what I figured.
Because no one else really jumped out at me as a that guy actor other than him. But I think you've probably seen him in dozens of movies. I can't name them at this minute, but
I think he is a quintessential that guy because he is hilarious in this movie. I mean, it's one of the famous scenes. He must really hate these cans.
Oh my God, I was rolling.
As he's shooting at him. But Emmett Walsh, he can do this and play the wacky, crazy guy. And then he can be in Blade Runner. He can be menacing. He can be funny. He's another one that you can plug him in to any type of role and you know that you're going to get a great performance from him. And you're going to say, oh, it's that guy, and not remember who it is. Now, we know who he is because we're movie nerds, but so he's one of those quintessential that guys.
Oh, my God. Give him his props. He has a huge...
He was in Fletch. He's the doctor. He's Dr. Jellyfinger in Fletch.
Yeah, he was in, Jesus, Missing in Action, Blade Runner, as your point.
Do you know what else he was in?
Well, Mike, Back to School?
Possibly. I was going to say
he's listed here. I'm just looking at his...
No. He was in Aftermath. He was in Aftermath.
Well, okay.
And I only knew that because I looked him up on IMDb. But yes, he was in Aftermath. I don't know if he puts that right up there at the top of his list when he's telling people that giving them the highlights of his career. But yeah, he was in Aftermath.
Well, there you go. Okay, so is there a MASH connection?
There is, brought to us by by the Tabasco Film Company of Havana, Cuba. There are a few MASH connections in this film. Yes, there are. I will give you the one that I picked, but I'll also give you the other MASH connections that I found. So the guy I picked for the MASH connection was Dick O'Neill, and he plays
Hey now.
he plays Naven's boss at the carnival. When he
Okay.
says when he's trying to guess people's weight, he's only in it
It's
for
like,
about.
you'll go somewhere with this. Yeah.
So, but he was in MASH 3 times in
Wow.
3 different episodes. He was in
As the
season
same character?
No, as different characters. He was in
Okay.
season 5, episode 16, 38 across. He played Admiral Cox. In season 7, episode 16, BJ Papasan, he played a colonel.
Okay.
And in season 10, episode 20, Sons and Bowlers, he played Colonel Pitts. So
Well,
3 times.
You know, I don't remember him as well, but his TV and film career is extensive. So he's certainly got.
He was my
that guy.
second this. Yeah, he was my second that guy. Now, do you want to hear my other MASH connections for this movie?
Hang on, because you also apparently was on, according to this, Trapper John MD.
Oh,
episode.
There we go. So we have an after MASH. Wow, we could do like a sideshow of just the MASH spin-off connections.
Well, no, he's actually done 2 episodes of Trapper John, and that was a MASH connection, right? That can't be a coincidence.
I mean, he's not playing the same character, but yeah.
No. But I'm sorry, the show. That's
Trapper John MD was it was supposed to be Trapper John 20 years after the war, but I've brought this up to you before, but because they didn't want to pay for the rights, 20th Century Fox said it's not a spin-off of the show, it's a spin-off of the movie. So he's supposed to be playing the Elliot Gould version of the character 20 years later, and not the Wayne Rogers version of the character.
Was Wayne Rogers in this show? Okay, no.
No, it was Pernell Roberts played Trapper John.
Very good. All right. So continue. Another MASH connection.
The other MASH connection is someone I brought up already, Carl Gottlieb. In the MASH movie, he played Ugly John in the MASH movie.
Wow.
The gas passer. Yes, he played Ugly John.
Huh. That's incredible.
Oh. And
wow, this movie has heavy MASH connections.
There is one other MASH connection that I found.
Oh, my Lord. A hat trick, if you will.
Yes, a hat trick of MASH connections. At the very end, when they have the news report about the lawsuit that famous movie director Carl Reiner brings against Naven Johnson, the newscaster is Cleet Roberts, who was in 2 episodes of MASH. He was in the season 4 season finale, The Interview, where he plays the interviewer. He plays himself. And he's also in the season 7 episode, Their Finest Hour, which is the clip show where he plays the same character and he interviews the cast.
Huh. Wow.
There you go. I think this movie has the most MASH connections we've found so far.
It's a hat trick is incredible.
And he was in reality a newscaster, and then he parlayed that into doing some TV and movie work. I think most of the time he was playing newscasters because that's what we knew. He was also in, speaking of MASH spinoffs, he is in the ill-fated spinoff Walter, which was shown once.
What the hell was Walter?
Walter was the spinoff of MASH that aired in the summer of 1984, only on the East Coast because it went up against the 1984 Olympics, and its Radar is back home. And he's divorced from his wife, moves to St. Louis, and becomes a police officer.
Was it?
It was Gary Berghoff. Yes.
Okay.
It's terrible. It's horrendous. Don't ever. I watched 10 minutes of it, and I couldn't. That was it. I tapped out. I said, that's it. I love MASH. I can't do it. It's horrendous. But he is in the very beginning. He's again playing the same newscaster, and he's supposed to be doing a follow-up after the war, getting in touch with people from the 407 and he mentions that he talked to Hawkeye, but you don't see Alan Alda. And
Gotcha.
Radar is watching this on TV.
Okay.
So, yeah, guys, I really do. I think this is the most MASH connection we have found in any one movie. And I will say we brought up Jackie Mason. Jackie Mason was my Wendy Jo Sperber Memorial Award winner. Rest in peace, Jackie Mason. And this is an older movie, so I'm sure I could have found other ones, but he's the most famous, just because I wanted to talk about Jackie Mason. But he died in 2021 actually, so he hung on. He was 93, I believe. And of course, you know, this movie, Caddyshack 2, he's in History of the World with Mel Brooks. He had his own sitcom for a little bit in the, I believe, late 80s, early 90s, the Jackie Mason Show. And I don't know if you'll remember this, but
Wait a
do you
minute, he
remember?
was in History of the World?
He was in the Spanish Inquisition part when they
Oh,
do the song and dance. He's one of the people chained up.
got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they play with my ball.
Well, you're doing that voice. I was gonna say, do you remember the Ant and the Aardvark cartoons from the 70s?
Oh, yeah, he was the Aardvark, right?
He's not. I just found
What?
this out.
You're
Yes.
kidding me.
Friend of the show.
Whoa.
Michael Lyons, who has been on Pop Culture Basement, he hosts a podcast called From Pencils to Pixels, where they talk about animation from the 70s, 80s, 90s. And he just did an episode on the animation company DePatie Freeling, who was very big in the 70s. And one of the cartoons they produced was the Pink Panther, and they also produced the Ant and the Aardvark. That is not Jackie Mason doing the voice. It's actually John Biner.
Jackie Mason must have sued the shit out of him.
No, they said that they looked to see if he ever mentioned that he knew that they were doing a riff on his voice, and he never did. But up until about a week ago,
I would have bet my children that was Jackie Mason.
Up until a week ago, I thought it was Jackie Mason doing the voice.
Wow, you learn something new every day, because the voice, the inflections, the tone, I mean, it's spot on.
Yeah. But yeah, as a kid and up until about a week ago, I thought it was Jackie Mason who did the voice.
All right. I feel like a little piece of my childhood was just destroyed. But okay.
I'm sorry. I know I corrupt you with these movies, and now
you're hurting me.
Much like George Lucas, I'm ruining your childhood.
All right, Mike. I thought this movie was great, but the last 20 minutes, I don't know what the hell went off the wheels. What are your thoughts?
Glad you brought that up. I thought it was great, and then
when he gets rich,
I remembered all of the different famous parts of this movie. I remembered the cans. I remembered his favorite meal.
He hates cans.
I remembered the Twinkies and the tab. Happy birthday! We brought your favorite meal. It's even wrapped in cellophane. I remembered I was raised a poor black child. I mean, that's one of the most famous.
When he discovers rhythm and he starts dancing. Oh, I was crying.
If this is out there, who knows what else is out there?
You know, something we didn't give him credit for, his physical comedy. His career is outstanding. Not just what he speaks, but I mean, this movie. If any of you out there have never watched All of Me, I promise you will crack a rib laughing at some of the physical comedy does in that movie. But you know, we didn't talk about that. So, but anyway, I interrupted you. Keep going on your thoughts.
No, I was gonna agree with you. All of Me, even The Man with Two Brains, and I think that goes back to the point that we were talking about earlier. Is that's what he was known for, and he was great at it. I mean, Steve Martin was great at it. But it was something, I feel like a lot of comedians are like this. As soon as they start getting big, they want to be taken seriously. I need to become an actor, and.
Yeah,
I will say Steve Martin, as I said, very, very intelligent guy. I mean, he's done LA Story, a bunch of other things that is very good, sophisticated drama and comedy. But yeah, he is underrated as a physical comedian. This, All of Me, especially, like you brought up, The Man with Two Brains, underrated physical comedian. But yeah, I felt the same way. So I knew the famous beats from this movie, but not seeing it in so long, I couldn't remember exactly. I was thinking to myself as I was watching it, how does this end? I forget what happens. And yeah, it's very rushed, I feel like, at the end. That gets rich, gets sued, and goes back to being a poor jerk. And hence the title. By the way, they got the title. Steve Martin said he wanted something. It was supposed to be called Easy Money. So not the Rodney Dangerfield movie that we've covered, but originally it was called Easy Money, and he said, I wanted to be something short and to the point, much like Dostoevsky. This tells you that I am not as well read as Steve Martin. Much like Dostoevsky's The Idiot. So he said, I'll call it The Jerk. But yeah, it kind of goes off the rails at the end. I think it feels like It feels like they didn't know how to end it.
Yeah, it almost feels like they wrote a movie up until like the 77th minute, and then someone else came in and wrote the rest. And it's like, what the hell is going on here? I don't think it's Dave's being funny. He's just an obnoxious person, and I think the comedy just wasn't funny, felt forced.
That's a really good point.
I don't know what the.
It's a good point you're bringing up. Steve Martin, that was his persona, was that kind of like smarmy. He thinks that false confidence, basically, that he's confident in what he's doing, but everybody else is like, what the hell is this guy doing? But you buy into it because it's Steve Martin and you like him and you like the character. But then by the end, that last 15 to 20 minutes, it does just kind of get obnoxious. And you see that in a lot of 70s comedies. I believe in a lot of, I would say, like Saturday Night Live comedies and people who are associated with Saturday Night Live, is that they don't know how to end them. And then it just gets to that where it's just over the top obnoxiousness, and you start to say like, okay, well, this isn't even funny anymore.
No, I didn't.
And it doesn't take away, because I still enjoyed the movie and I still really, really liked it. But yeah, it builds and builds and builds. It's really good. And then it does feel like that maybe, and who knows, I did not read anywhere that they were working on the script as they were filming, but maybe they just couldn't come up with an ending. I do like that as he tells the story and you see him fall from grace, and it flashes forward to, as you know, to the beginning of the movie, and he's a bum living on the street, and the family pulls up and they come out to get him, and he says to the camera, I was just telling them what was going on.
Yeah, he breaks the fourth wall, right?
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of agree with you. What are your thoughts on it?
That last 20 minutes, if you will, okay, somewhat funny, like the maid getting in front of a firing squad, like, but what I don't know how to articulate this too well, but what I feel like, if the comedy didn't, while funny, wasn't in line with the comedy we were given. Like, he was a goofball. He's trying to wax the car, and he goes flying, like,
right. But
funny stuff. And then this is like a whole different type of comedy, and I just didn't like it.
I will say there was a sweetness to him, and he was trying to show
money corrupts or something.
Yeah, that the sweetness was corrupted by finally becoming something in the world, and that's what he wanted to do. He went out there to make something of himself and become something in the world, and then he's corrupted by it. But the execution of it, I feel like, is kind of forced, and it's a little bit too fast. I mean, there's some funny bits in it when they're all in the disco in the basement, and they're watching the newscast, and it shows Carl Reiner with the crossed eyes, and they all have the crossed eyes, and they award them the money, and everybody just starts to leave, and he's berating all the people walking out. And then it does have that famous scene where it's like, I don't need you, I just need this, and he starts taking, and that was part of his act. That was adapted from his act. Where,
oh really?
Yeah, it's not that, obviously it wasn't that he was rich, but it was adapted where he said, oh, I'm gonna leave, but I just need this, and he starts grabbing various different things. So that's funny, because I mean, that's that was the poster for the movie, was him in the bathrobe with the pants falling down and holding on to the various items that he grabs. But yeah, I kind of agree with you that it builds and builds, as I said, and then it just feels like they don't stick the landing that well at the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so thoughts on the Zmed-O-Meter? Time to go to the Zmed-O-Meter?
Already?
Hey, I understand. Don't worry about that. To tell you the truth, I'm envious. I wish I had someone who was in my every thought. Somebody I could spend all my time with. Somebody I could really respect. Hey, look at the cans on that bimbo.
Well, I think, what else do we need to cover? I think we covered our usual.
Well, we have to talk about. We have to talk
Go
about.
Ahead. No.
Well, you know what? We can move it in with the Zmed-O-Meter, because obviously, we know what we're going to talk about. So let me just say, for the Zmed-O-Meter, for then, half a star. Like half, not even a 1 on the Zmed-O-Meter.
No, it doesn't. I don't think it flickers the meter at all.
Now it's a 5.
Yeah,
It's
you're
a
not
5.
doing this. You're not doing this movie.
No, him. Yeah, as I said, the famous line right there up front. I was born a poor black child.
Yep.
I'm not saying you couldn't do that now, but it back then nobody blinked an eye at him being the white-haired white son of a sharecropper and his family.
Yeah.
But I will say now, you tell me, because as I always say to you, you're better than I am with this because I was born in a family of scumbags who let me watch this kind of stuff, and it it bounces right off of me. And you are more morally, you're more, you're not as
Well,
morally corrupted as I am. I don't think they ever are making fun of the black family. Like the black family is never presented as being stupid or being lesser than him. They love him. They're
mhm.
not they love him as a brother and as a son. So I don't think they're taking the piss out of the black family.
No, no. I think they actually treated that family kind of sweetly, but yeah, I don't. No, I don't think this would fly today. Certainly from the Hispanic community, I don't think that was particularly well. Would go over very well. Um,
Well, you
you
don't
know,
like the talk that his dad gives him before he embarks on his journey when he says
oh no, I but
don't trust Whitey.
God loves a working. Lord loves a working man.
Lord loves a
Um,
working man. Do you know the difference between shit and Shinola? See that right there? That's
right.
shit. This is Shinola. Know the difference.
What did he? What was the line? If something happens, get it fixed or something. I forget exactly the.
I don't know. I can't remember what line. I don't know
Yeah,
what.
his like brother says it to him. If it starts to itch, get it fixed or
It's
something
something
along
like
those.
that. Yes. It's something like that. But now that you're bringing it up, yeah, now I
No,
remember.
I think
And
the
his special purpose when they're reading the
yeah
letter. I found my special purpose.
special
I
purpose.
wish the whole family could have been here to see it.
No, I'm speaking of the gas station scene. Like that entire thing would have to get cut out. Now this
Why?
was
Why?
the
When he's talking to the guys in the car, the guys in the car.
well,
This
I
is
mean they're just so
I'm
like
Mr. Nussbaum.
they're such stereotypical. Like no, of course this is the era of Cheech and Chong, so
Yeah.
anything went. But I'm certainly today someone would lose their mind over it, just making them as criminals and the low rider and smoking weed and this and that, and
A
then
joint. I don't think it's really made that
they
well.
may very well.
And you know the guy who he fixes the glasses for? That's Maud's husband.
Right.
I don't know. I feel bad. I forget the actor's name. He's another that guy. He was in. If you were growing up in the '70s and watched and were watching sitcoms and TV, you saw him in a million things. But
And then
damn these glasses! I
I
damn
damn
thee!
thee. See what I mean? That was funny, but like the character he was in the last 20 minutes. Anyway, that scene at the end. Well, speaking of the last 20 minutes, when the guy's like, "Well, we can get rid of all the," and then he goes, "What? I'm a," and he starts kicking their ass. Like
Yeah.
that was funny from a physical standpoint, but
You're never. There is no way. Yeah, there's no way you're getting that. You're getting that out there now. And
yeah,
that actually, Iron Balls McGinty. That's Carl Gottlieb.
okay,
So he was in a lot of the stuff that he wrote. He's in Jaws.
right.
He plays, I believe, one of the reporters in Jaws.
Okay. He's not one of the deputies. All right. Yeah.
No, I believe he's one of the reporters. I should get my movie card taken away that I can't remember exactly what he plays in Jaws now. But of course, I'm actually recording a podcast, so my mind goes blank. But I believe that he's one of the reporters in Jaws. I know Peter Benchley, who wrote the novel Jaws, is the main TV reporter. But I think Carl Gottlieb is one of the reporters in Jaws. Somebody out there in the audience, tell me that I'm wrong, and then I will address it at the beginning of the next episode. But yeah, so Carl Gottlieb was in a bunch. I'm pretty sure he's actually in Dr. Detroit. He wrote it. I think he has a small role in it, so he would pop up in the stuff that he wrote. But yeah, there's no way that wouldn't fly. I do enjoy when he's at the carnival and he gets married to the chick who rides the motorcycle through the fire.
Yeah.
Look at her ass. My name is right there. Do you think that maybe once we could kiss?
Oh, so yeah, I just don't think this.
What does she say? Did you forget about my ass?
Did she say that? Okay.
She did when she finds him with Bernadette Peters. She said, "Did you forget about my ass?" Even that got a little cut short, where she comes in and throws when she finds Naven and Bernadette Peters together, and she throws him like against the wall, and then Bernadette Peters just punches her in the face, and that's it. It's done. And what's the shirt that the boy that Bernadette Peters is babysitting? Does it say bullshit on it?
Yeah.
And the dog's name, of course, is
Shithead.
Shithead. Which, as I was reading up on the movie, I was reading about how they had to, when they would put it on network TV, they had to either totally block that out or they changed the name of the dog, and I can't remember what they changed the name of the dog to, but it's obviously not Shithead.
Sure, I'm sure it was
with the little
something,
boy,
like
they would,
Snoopy.
yeah, with
Come
the
here,
little
Snoopy.
boy, come here, Snoopy. With the little boy, they would just not white out, but they would kind of like rub out. You know what I mean? Where it would look distorted on the screen, so you wouldn't
Right.
see. It's
Right.
bullshit
Or
on
it's
there.
probably from his head up or something like that. Yeah.
But what would you have it? Did you say a 5 also?
Oh yeah, we're lockstep for once on the Zmed reading. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no way that this stuff is getting through. But that's why it makes it so much better. I mean, that's why we do this podcast, is that you could get away with this stuff back then, and it was funny. But I'm glad that you brought up about the ending, because I feel like they just didn't know how to end it. And it kind of takes you out of it with Carl Reiner. I know that it was meant to be funny that he's playing himself, because he says, when he's on the stand and says, "I'm going to show you footage of my last movie," and it's a car crashing and going over the side of a mountain, and he says, if I would have had the correct glasses on, those people would be alive today.
This is completely off the rails here, but I'm the resident car guy on this podcast, and some of the greatest car movies in my mind are Mad Max and Road Warrior. But then they did a third movie, and it's documented that like there was all kinds of weird, not weird, just it was canceled. The script got rewritten in the back half. So what I'm trying to say is this movie to me felt like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, because you can see that movie. It seems like it's one, maybe two, even perhaps three movies spliced together to make one, and it just has a horrible, uneven flow. And that's why when I'm watching this, I just had PTSD from, the Mad Max movies are my favorite, and the third one was just like, I'm like, what happened here? I'm like losing my mind in the theater. So that's kind of how I felt with this movie. Like it felt like someone else came in and wrote the back end of the movie and duct taped it to the first 73 minutes, and that was how it came.
But before that, you could see a lot of his stand-up persona and a lot of his,
for sure,
his stand-up, not even just his stand-up, but just a lot of his brand of humor bleeding through into the screenplay. I mean, I'm just looking at my notes here when he's eating the corn dog, and Patty says to him, that's the motorcycle chick, and says, "Can I have a bite of that corn dog?" And he says, "What about germs? Put a rubber on it."
Oh God.
And again, as he writes home to the family and says, "Patty promised me a blowjob." I think it's the father who says, "That Patty must be a sweet girl. God bless her."
Right.
Or even like something as like weird, and that's what Steve Martin, what he was known for with his comedy, with like the non sequiturs when they're sitting and eating the pizza in a cup, and he just goes off on that tangent and says, "This is the best pizza in a cup you'll find." He put the other pizza in a cup guy out of business, and
I think that was a thing, though.
was it really?
I swear, I'm pretty sure. I have to look it up, but I started thinking. I think that was like a real project for 30 seconds when I was a kid. I could completely wrong, but
the 70s. How I missed them. Come on, kids, we're gonna go get some pizza in a cup.
Or it probably wasn't, but still, it just, there was all kinds of zany stuff like that going on back then. So
And again, something I think that is really, it tells you it's a Steve Martin movie when he gets the phone book and he rifles through the phone book. I got my name in the phone
I'm in
book.
print.
I'm in print. I'm somebody now.
And the part where he was carrying the 2 dogs. Oh my God, that was crying.
Now,
Again,
I will say
physical comedy.
one of the funnier parts of that last 20 minutes is when the priest comes in and asks him, he wants to try to get money from him, and he shows him the film of them juggling cats.
Oh,
I
right.
heard about this, but I
Yes,
didn't
that was.
believe it.
It took me a minute, but that was him in the movie juggling the.
That was
the
him.
cat.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he did, in his act, he didn't actually juggle cats, but he did do.
He did do juggling.
Yes, and he said he would juggle cats, but obviously he wasn't actually juggling cats. Even when he first meets Bernadette Peters and she tells him she's a cosmetologist, and he says, "Wow, it must be hard to learn how to handle the weightlessness." Now, you brought up Bernadette Peters. Bernadette
Yep.
Peters in a sailor outfit. My God.
Yeah.
My Lord Almighty. Good.
Oh, let me have a little feel.
Oh, buddy. Ted Knight, the patron saint of SLEAZE BAG CINEMA, Ted Knight.
One of the patron saints. We cannot
yes.
beseech our true patron saint.
Yes, we cannot. I'm sorry. I did not mean to blaspheme against Zmed.
No. I often, and this is just me, I sometimes get her mixed up with
Madeline Kahn?
Thank you.
Yes, I used to get her mixed up with Madeline Kahn
it.
too. And I think that's why I had a crush on both of them. They were the 70s, the hot, funny 70s hot chicks that I grew up with. Both of them. Both with red hair, both funny, both multi-talented. Yeah. I mean, I grew up watching Madeline Kahn and grew up watching Bernadette Peters.
Yeah. I think Madeline Kahn was probably known as the more comedic of the two.
Yes, she was. That little song that Bernadette Peters and I almost said Stan Martin. Whoa. And that Bernadette Peters and Steve Martin do when they're walking on the beach. They pushed to do that, to sing together, and they do say the test audiences didn't like it, but Steve Martin fought to keep it in the movie. Another thing with talking about test audiences and stuff like that, when to help promote the film, Carl Reiner told studio execs and to set up a screening. They were going to have a premiere screening, and they got a bunch of people, rented out a theater, brought the people in. Carl Reiner got up and introduced the trailer for the movie. They showed them the 3-minute trailer and said, "That's it, we're done." And all the people
really?
came thinking they were going to see the movie, but it worked. It got people interested in the movie.
No kidding.
Huh. And another bit that I think is just indicative of Steve Martin's type of humor is we kept bringing up one of the Hall of Fame that guy's Emmett Walsh, when he finally comes back near the end and he's the private detective. Mm-hmm. And Steve Martin says, "You were trying to kill me," and he says, "Oh no, I'm better now. I was just having a really bad day and I had stopped smoking." But yeah, I like this a lot, but I'm glad that you and I, because I thought it was just me, I did find at the end I was like, they didn't know how to stick the landing. I don't think they were able to stick the landing.
I even thought the very, very end, when I get it, it's supposed to be like a good story, but like his family all of a sudden got vested in, like, what the heck? Like, I don't know. I'm like, what's going on here? It's so very strange to me, I thought. And they just randomly found him. I mean, okay.
I always wanted a plaster lion and a rotating bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a disco room with my own disco dancers. Yeah, I mean, they're showing, as you brought up at the end, I mean, that's the whole point of the movie. They're trying to show that this sweet, naive person was corrupted by success, by fame, by wealth. You know, when they go to the restaurant and he says, "We're tired of this old wine. Why don't you bring us something from this year and get those snails off the plate? There's snails all over her plate."
Yeah.
They needed Mr. Furley to come in and say, "They're escargots."
That would have played, actually.
So I think it's. What did you say for then? Like nothing, right? Like a half.
Absolutely,
if even.
Even that.
Yeah,
that was all popular. Again, this was Steve Martin with his hype. Cheech and Chong movies were all the rage. It's it all kind of made sense. So, and I don't doubt it was successful.
And I knew we were both going to go with a 5 for the current Zmed-O-Meter. I mean, there's no way you're not making.
It's hard to believe that Steve Martin did a 5 Zmed-O-Meter movie, but yes, and wrote it. So
yeah, but I mean, you think of Steve Martin, as I keep bringing up, got his start and got famous in movies with this comedic type of persona, and you think of somebody like Tom Hanks. I mean, Steve Martin, I don't think ever went as fully dramatic as Tom Hanks did. And, Steve Martin never, I don't believe he was ever nominated for an Oscar. He's definitely never won an Oscar. Tom Hanks has won 2, but almost the same kind of thing. I mean, you think of Tom Hanks when he first started with Splash, with The Money Pit, with Bachelor Party, obviously the first movie we ever did on SLEAZE Bag Cinema. And to go from that to doing Saving Private Ryan and Captain Phillips and Castaway. I mean,
well, I think about Michael Keaton too. I mean,
very true, very true.
He and Tom Hanks, in my mind, kind of parallel because they, both known as comedic actors who went on to be very acclaimed dramatic actors.
Yeah, very true. So I mean,
as well as being Batman. So
that's which one? Can you imagine Tom Hanks as Batman?
No.
I can't. That's a whole alternate reality right there. I can see him as the Joker.
That's Earth Prime 3 for me. I don't know.
So what you're saying is you like this better than National Lampoon's Vacation?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I again, just as you touched on, I remember a lot of these bits and pieces. I remember. And it could be old man brain fog, but I have no recollection of that last 20 minutes. But everything up until that, I remember seeing at some point or another. I don't know why. Maybe I just blanked it out or whatever. I just don't remember anything about that last third of the movie, third act, as you call it.
Yeah, I think The Jerk builds its reputation as a classic on that first hour, and then that last 25 minutes to a half hour. That's probably why you're forgetting about it, because it's just not as good as that first hour.
It's probably, what it probably is. I can think that it's probably I only ever saw this on a TV edit, and so much of that first two acts probably made it through fairly unscathed.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of bleeping here and there, but I'm the last third probably was really butchered. So that's probably I don't remember.
You're probably right. You are probably right.
I mean, you probably remember when we were kids, and maybe you never bothered to watch movies on Channel 17, PHL, and 17 in Philadelphia because you'd already seen the shit on Prism, where I was like, oh, I finally get to see this movie. I was banned from my
yeah. That's
eyesight.
My dad brought me in front of the TV and he said, "Now, son, this is the shit and this is Shinola. Know the difference." So, I would like to hear from the audience out there. And I was letting people know on social media that we were doing this movie, and people, fans of the show, were excited about it. So I do want to hear from you guys out there what you think, not only of the movie itself, but if you agree or disagree with Andrew and I, if you think that the whole thing is great, if you agree that first hour or so is really, really, really funny, and then it kind of goes off the rails. I do want to hear from people out there. Let us know if you think we're correct in our assessment of The Jerk, or if we're full of shit, because we probably are. I mean,
yeah.
As I tell my kids now that they're older, I'm like, kids, I'm full of shit. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So you're on your own now. You're above 10 years old. You guys are fine. But I'm happy. I was glad. I wanted to. It was a movie that I hadn't seen in a long time, so I was excited to revisit it, and I wasn't disappointed, even if the last 20 minutes weren't that great. Still, it was fun to watch it again because it brought back
Absolutely.
it
Great
brought back
nostalgic tour.
it brought back fun childhood memories. It's me and my dad out in the backyard having a catch and then going in to watch The Jerk. So, as our audience knows, Andrew and I do not plan these things in advance. What do you think you want to do for the next episode?
Shit, didn't we just? Well, I think we need to do some Michael Keaton.
I
It could
agree.
be a Johnny Dangerously or Night Shift, or we just talked about it too. Maybe we do Doctor Detroit. So like, I feel like we can just swim in those waters.
Well, how about let's do this. As I just talked about our wonderful audience that's out there.
Sure.
I will put a poll on Twitter, and I'll put a poll on there, and I'll ask people to vote if we should do Doctor Detroit, Night Shift, Johnny Dangerously, or Mr. Mom. How about that?
Oh, Mr. Mom.
What do you think? Between those four movies, and I'll have the audience decide what they want us to cover next.
All right, sounds good to me.
Ooh, good. But until then, I think, are you done? Is there anything else you want to opine?
No, I've
about
covered
The
what I
Jerk?
wanted to cover. So
Okay, good. Until then, I don't want to forget about it like I forgot about it last time, because then it takes up 20 minutes of me correcting all the things I fucked up in the previous episode. I want to say to everybody out there, as I just said, I will put the poll up on Twitter. You can find SLEAZE Bag Cinema, which is a part of the Pop Culture Basement Podcast Network, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Bluesky. I was going to think, what social media am I forgetting about? And you can find it under Pop Culture Basement or under SLEAZE Bag Cinema. So look for us there and reach out. Tell us if you have a movie that you want us to cover. And as I always say, look for us on Apple, on Spotify, on YouTube, on Amazon. Throw us a 5-star review. It helps to get the word out there. It helps to get more listeners, and we are getting more listeners, which is great. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your family members, tell your pastor, tell your dog, even if the dog is named Shithead, tell them to listen, because why not? What else do you have to do, like on a Sunday night like us here? God
Exactly.
forbid. I'm home by myself, and what am I doing? I'm podcasting with Andrew. Why? Because I love him.
even though I look like a baboon's ass, the coloring of a baboon's ass.
You know what? I think that is the perfect way to end this episode.
Very good.
Until next time, and I will, as I said, I will put the poll up there on Twitter to see what the listeners want us to listen to. But until next time, Andrew, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. It's
Yes,
always
sir.
a pleasure to corrupt you with these movies that you didn't get to watch as a child.
Nope.
And hopefully we are corrupting some of the audience members out there also.
Bye, kids. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Don't trust Whitey. Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey.